Have never been clearer. I see what you're doing to me now. They lie, they steal, they fooled us. Deep down I probably knew this. I think I will be holding on to the one thing that I know is stronger. Love is blind and no one's perfect. Love seems so sharp.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening for those of you wherever you are here in the globe. I want to say the United States, but we're everywhere today. Hello, everyone. And this is a special show today. This is an early morning show segment as well. Welcome to the Healing Factor. And today is I have all special guests. All my guests are special. Let me just say this. But this one right here, this is someone very dear to my heart. This is, she's a shaman. I can't get enough of saying all of this, though. I get a kick out of saying it. She's a grandmother. She is a mentor. She is a big sister. She is a coach, a counselor. Gosh, she's like grandmother elder of various indigenous tribes. I'm like, she's a doctor. So I want to welcome you all. I want to welcome this beautiful woman, this beautiful soul, this beautiful spirit to the show. And I've been waiting for a long time to do this. This has been 6 months coming, or probably. Dr. Enolia Foti. Hi, honey.
Thank you. It's so good to be here. I'm excited to be here with you. And it has been a long time coming. We waited too long. This should have happened months ago. Yes.
This has been a journey, though. You know, everything happens for a reason. And you tell me this all the time. Everything happens in divine timing. So, you know, it was just right. This is the right time. This is Women's Month. This is International Women's Month. So, you know, what perfect time to do this? What perfect time?
Exactly.
So, everyone, let me just say, empower this Dr. Foti. How shall I say it? Dr. Enolia Foti, Dr. Enolia. We have a personal relationship, but at the same time, I want everyone to acknowledge who you are and your accomplishments as well. So, starting off, tell us who you are and what it is that, you know, what your contribution is to the world.
You know, that's funny question, because I'm going to go to what inspires me. You know, I'm Enolia first and foremost, and I'm just energy being, working from my heart like everybody else, working hard. We make personal commitments to the divine, to source, to God, whatever you want to call it. And all I'm trying to do is fulfill my commitments. My mother's my inspiration. I love her dearly. She passed away. And I remember at her funeral that so many people came up to me telling me stories about her. They told me stories about how she helped them in some little way, like I didn't have car fare, and Nurse Harris, you know, gave me car fare, and she said, I'm going to give this to you. And she says, but here's what I want you to do. I want you to remember to help somebody else. You know, and they told me all these little inspiring stories that she did in one way or another that was like almost a turning point in her life or in their lives from her one little act of kindness. And so I wanted to be that. I wanted to be that. I want to be that. And that's what motivates me. That's what inspires me. So if something that I can do is one small act of kindness and a contribution to help somebody's life in a positive way, that's where I want to be. That's the act that I want to fulfill. And it's not looking at it like I'm going to come and I'm going to do this great grand thing. It's that the divine puts us in positions where our actions and our acts can actually be a contribution. And I'm just grateful to be in those positions at times where however I act or the act that I put forward has a contribution. And that's always where I want to be.
That's beautiful. I love it. And I will have to say that since our meeting from the beginning in probably 2 years ago, from the G100
Mm-hmm.
forward, you have certainly done a lot, with the impact that you've had on so many different women, including myself within that group itself. Your words have been so inspiring, starting from your first book that you wrote. I can't think of the name of it right now. My brain is gone left, but it was about the story of
Yeah,
your
it was
mother.
my sovereign voice, my grandmother elder, no problem. Because it was like my journey to
Yes.
share. Yeah.
And that book literally, for me, touched my life. It just like a magnet, it snatched me up and I just grabbed it and I couldn't let go. And I knew it the minute I heard you speak about it in the literary legacy. So when I say it touched my life, I knew that was going to take me on a new journey. So here we are today, and looking at where I am from where I was then. Who knew that I was going to be a coach, for the Empower Achieve Succeed program that you have? And it's amazing. So tell me, what got you started on that journey for Empower Achieve Succeed?
So I'm going to share this with you because even based on what you said, I'm grateful to have met so many beautiful women in G100, but they did the work. I didn't do the work. I may have interjected, you did the work.
Yes.
I may have interjected, here's a way to do the work to achieve what you're looking for, but you did the hard work.
Right.
And I'm just grateful to be a stepping stone in the process of you doing your own, which to me is phenomenal. So you have to own it. I'm not responsible for the end result. You're responsible for the end result, but I'm grateful to have contributed to it.
Thank you.
What got me started on the journey? It wasn't a getting started on the journey. It was my journey. It was the fact that I went through the ultimate lows and then had to build back into the ultimate highs on my journey. And what I did is I documented my journey. And we talk about having a journey and going through different traumas, going through different situations, and going through different circumstances. And we're like, okay, when I sat down and said, what did I learn from this? I wrote it down. I wrote down my story step by step of this is what I went through, this is what happened to me, this is what I learned from it. And then when I reflected back and I noticed that certain situations were no longer repeating themselves because I finally learned the lesson and I realized that, oh my goodness, it actually isn't repeating itself. Because I had certain circumstances repeat itself over and over again. And I hadn't accepted my responsibility in the story. I hadn't accepted my responsibility in the trauma or the issue or the circumstance or the challenge. And then I would find myself right back there repeating the same thing, going, what the heck is going on? Why is this happening to me? And when I started accepting my responsibility and saying, okay, well, you know what? I have to own this. And then, putting forward the vulnerability, which is like, okay, this is where I was wrong. And I had no business behaving like this, acting like this, or doing this. When I started actually accepting that, that's when I would actually grow. And when I started growing, and I'm like, okay, that is now in the past and it's not repeating itself.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, wow, this is good. This is really good. And then I started meeting indigenous elders who would help me self-reflect and who would help me tear it apart so that I could see what the lesson needed to be or what the lesson learned in it was, and I could own it. And I could take responsibility for my own behaviors,
Mm-hmm.
my own thinking,
Mm-hmm.
my own fears, my own, limited belief system.
Mm-hmm.
All of those pieces were fundamental. And I was like, aha, I get it now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So owning my behavior, owning my journey, owning the circumstances and situations I had to go through to learn the lesson was part of it. And then I wrote it down. And then I met this wonderful, wonderful grandmother who basically was a mentor to me. She was 81 years old when I met her,
Mm-hmm.
and she's 88 now, still my mentor. And I asked Grandmother Shirley, and I was like, I have all of these lessons that I learned that I want to share with other people.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, okay. And I was like, it's all here, but it's not organized. How do I organize it? And she brought me through a process that organized it. And once it was organized, that's how it was born. That's how Empower, Achieve, Succeed through Self-Mastery is born. She helped me lay it out and organize it, but in a manner that wasn't like, okay, look what I did and this is how I would do it. No, 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 no.
Mm-hmm.
She helped me organize it such that my experience, what I perceived as the learning mechanism, what I perceived as the lesson learned, what I perceived in every respect, and how I approached it was what was organized.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can truly say that this program is my methodology, my way of getting it to help empower myself. And then, I'll tell you, as a coach, as a person, if you're not drawing from your own experiences and you're not drawing from your own lessons learned, it's a hard sell to other people to say, you know what you're doing, because you're
Exactly.
not drawing from something authentic and real.
That's empowering.
And so that's how.
I love it. I love the fact that you mentioned how and it's so I don't want to say weird because it's not weird to me anymore. I will say it's very unique, or I don't even know the word right now. It'll come to me later. But how your story came about, and when I think about my 20-year healing before I had even met you, um it's so similar. I didn't have the grandmother elder experience, but through the late part of my adult years, where young adult, I would say, I would have these moments in my life where I would wake up in the middle of the night and be crying and having these memories of childhood. And I would do those things. And I'm like, in the middle, I was literally doing it myself. Like, why am I having these dreams? And all of a sudden, something inside me would literally take me back to the beginning. And I would go through this process that you also took us through for the EAS, of understanding where it began, what part you played in it. And there were some really, really hard moments there, because in the midst of those times when I was having those crying fits, I found myself in the midst of it. And I would be like, okay, I need to apologize to that person. I can't tell you how many people I've had to come around that circle and accept responsibility of, okay, I could have done that differently. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. Now, some of the things, you're a kid, you don't know any better, but as an adult, you're like, I got to fix that some kind of way, and then I think the best part about it, when I came to you after that healing, this was like the cleanup of the healing part. You take the book, okay, now we've got this here. So we swept it all up out of the cobwebs and everything. So now it's time to get it all up, put it in the dustpan, and get rid of it for real. Because it was still that pile sitting there. So for me coming to you, it was about compiling it all, putting it all, making it all make sense and everything. And I'm like, okay, Now I get it. I'm owning my responsibility. Now I know where to compartmentalize and put this. I can let this go. I can forgive this person. I can forgive myself. It all made sense. I did the hard part by myself, which was not, I wouldn't invite anybody to do that. But apparently, because of my journey, I needed to do it. But becoming vulnerable and understanding your part in it, that's the hard part for healing in anyone, is to say, I had a part in this. When you have to say you forgive someone, or you have to say I forgive myself. What am I forgiving myself for? Oh my God, that's true vulnerability and accepting responsibility. I mean, like, wow.
And then the thing about it too, Melvina, is that even in the coaching certification, I don't ask you to draw from my experiences. I ask you to find your own experiences to relate back to the student, and under the principles that we're working with, because everybody has been able to do it, which makes it real, which makes it relatable, which makes it like, okay, and here you're not here on this stage like I'm here, you're there, and you have to aspire to be me. No, 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 no. We're working on a relatable experience. We're working hand in hand, and it's real, and the examples are real.
Mm-hmm.
And we're sitting in circle. You don't have to feel judged while you're doing it. And then the other beautiful piece of this is that we as coaches, and as a person, that having you go through the reflection of how to release and how to challenge your own thinking, we're not asking you to use anything outside of yourself. And I don't know how that felt for you, but so we're not saying, okay, pull out this piece of paper and go through the following checklist, and
Mm-hmm.
those things aren't, for me, they're not relatable. For me, they're like, okay, yeah, I can get anybody to hand me a list of stuff to go through and externally say, do I meet this, and this, and then have a judgment formed around that. I mean, why do I need to add another judgment to me already judging myself, which is the reason why I'm here in the first place?
Exactly.
We feel judged. We feel judged. We feel perceptions put upon us, asking us to measure up to this. We give away our power towards these particular things. And then I'm going to go through a program that turns around and does the same way, so I can turn around and, instead of self-reflecting and finding the power within me to help me stand more courageously, I'm going to feel judged and put upon to what? To basically say, okay, I've judged myself, and here's how I'm going to fix it. And then those fixes don't last.
Right. Exactly.
They don't last at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I really believe that when I talk about empower, achieve, succeed through self-mastery, yes, we call it that, but really what you're making is a life change.
Exactly.
You're making a life change in terms of how you choose to look at life.
Mm-hmm.
I throw it back at you, because that's how I see it.
No, you're completely correct, because before I took your coaching mastery class, I was also a coach through the International University of Metaphysics, and that was a part of the segment that I learned. And I learned then, when I started my very first that's it, my very first coaching student. I tried to do it by book, and it wasn't the IMM book. It was just some template that I saw from someone else, and I'm trying to follow along with it with her, and I'm like, this isn't making any sense. And I just tossed it. I literally tossed it, because I'm like, this isn't helping me, and it's not helping her. So from that moment, everything flowed, because I started feeding into her, who she was. I started listening instead of going by the book, because I believe, honestly, that anyone that needs healing, anyone that needs help, anyone that needs coaching or counseling or whatever, everything is not textbook form. There are some things that you may need to revert to it just to get understanding of it, but take that knowledge and still compound it around whatever is that person is going through. Make it a part of them, not the book. Make it real for them, because anything they can tell when it's being fake and it's phony. You're not paying attention to me. You're paying attention to some book that you need to check off the notes and make sure everything is correct. So, to understand how this program worked so much, it was amazing, because it was basically a regurgitation of what it is I had did for myself and all my new student, my very first student. So I'm like, this is repetition. I needed this, but I needed it for me more so, to finish my healing, because I had not gotten done. And I was so appreciative. I'm like, okay, the window just opened up again. I can fly.
And you have been. You've been flying. The launching of your new magazine. Oh my goodness, there's so many different things that you've done, and it's just phenomenal watching you. It's phenomenal. This podcast, this is fantastic.
Thank you. It feels good. I have my voice now. I found my, now it's so funny that I still kind of watch what I say, but at the same time, there's that real side of me, the part that has always been buried. Now it's like, no, 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 or I speak my mind, and there's this strong, and everyone is like, I'm not gonna tell you off or curse you out or anything unless you push me to that, but I'm gonna try not to, my best, but it's like I've accepted, and this is what I love about your program. I've accepted the various aspects of who I am, and I own them. So no one can tell me, okay, well, you're mean, or you're this, or I already know that. Like you said, I know that about myself. I don't need you to tell me. And okay, what else you got? Nothing. No one should ever be able to tell you about yourself more than you know. It's that was so
exactly
powerful.
But yeah, accepting the totality of self, such that it would be extremely hard to have somebody hurt you by throwing something at you, and telling you, oh, well, you're this or you're that or you're the other. Yeah, I am. And your point is, yep, I can be mean sometimes. Yep, I can be angry a lot. I own that about me, because I've accepted me. I accept all aspects of me. So tell me something I don't know, because I've taken the time to self-reflect. I've taken the time to check in and realize every part of me. So there isn't a part of me that you can't talk about that I haven't checked into, because I've looked. I own it. I own it. And not too many people can say that they own all parts of themselves, to the point where they cannot get hurt.
I love that. It's so empowering when you do, because you can okay, what else you got? Tell me something new. I'm like, I love it. Which brings me to the question, not even the question, the statement of mastering the mind. This is what this is all about. Mastering the mind. And I think a lot of the coaching that we do with others, it has a lot to do with understanding who you are, your thought process, and how you're allowing others to control your mind, which comes back to that what we just talked about, as far as you telling me about me. I feel like if I mastered it, if my mind is mastered, then whatever story you're trying to create, it can't fly, because I'm like, okay, that puzzle piece doesn't fit there. That's not right. Okay, what else? No, get to the point. It's like, okay, now you're just throwing out things. You're throwing out a fishing line, and you're hoping that I'll bite. The control and the manipulation. So mastering the mind is one of the most empowering things anyone could ever do in this EAS class. Your thoughts?
And I love what you said, because it truly is mastering your mind, because what you're doing is you're putting the heart in charge first. That's what you're really doing. So that the ego can't go rampant and say, okay, I get to pick and choose how my life is led, and meaning the ego gets to pick and choose how my life is led and what aspect of my personality is going to lead. Because the ego has said, okay, you hurt my feelings, so I'm going to get the the part of me that is that shuts down and angry all the time and hurt, and that's how I'm going to lead my life, because I don't know how to process, and I don't know how to stop giving my power away every time somebody hurts my feelings and brings me to that space. I don't know how to exit the story or not even accept the story, because people love to project things onto me, and I don't know how to handle it. So mastering of the mind, and I love the way that you designed that, is really just basically saying my mind doesn't get to leave, my heart gets to leave. Because whenever we lead from our heart allows us to grow. Our heart puts us in that uncomfortable space that says, really? You really believe that? No, you don't. Deep down in your heart, you know you don't believe that. And then you go, well, it's uncomfortable there. Well, that's how we grow. We accept new terms, new conditions and everything, and we learn how to operate in that uncomfortable space until that becomes a comfort level. When we choose not to do that, then what do? We work in our comfort zone, but we're working where the mind and the ego is very comfortable. And when the ego is comfortable, the ego behaves any way that it wants. And it's not necessarily conducive to us growing, to us achieving, to us getting out of the story. And when we talk about getting out of the story, it's the story of limited beliefs. Oh, she hates me. She'll always hate me. She'll never love me again. Or, oh, whatever the mind likes to make up. Oh, he's not my friend. He just said such and such and such a thing, but I didn't wait for the rest of the information to unveil itself. So I automatically created a story where there was space in between. And then I assumed that was the truth. And I never allowed the real information to unveil itself to find out if it was the truth or not. I've already made up a story, and I'm already reacting to the person based on the story that I made up.
That part.
So we could go through all kinds of iterations that the mind, the ego loves to do. But in mastering self-mastery, it's about saying, I'm catching you. You're about to go rampant, and I'm not going to let you do it. You're about to try to get me to shut down, but I'm not going to shut down. I own this. My heart is telling me I'm not supposed to shut down. My heart is telling me I really need to navigate through this. So ego, that part that wants to shut down, go to the back. Not going to deal with you right now. I need the person who's a courageous woman, and I need to navigate through this, and I need to be able to listen and not react so that I can understand what's taking place here, and I can move through the story of the circumstance because it's not serving me.
Right. Exactly. So my question, what about the ego? What about the ego? So I've heard someone say before that the ego plays a vital part in our lives. And some people feel like, based on how we communicate and we understand how the ego works within our mind and our heart, the battle that goes on. And others feel like the ego is an important part of our lives. How do you feel? What do you think? What do you feel that the part the ego plays? Is it just to let us know, okay, where's the side we need to be wandering on, or is it just a warning to tell us, a signal to tell us you're getting out of control? Or is it something just to tell us, okay, well, I need my ego for this, or I need my ego for that? Are there certain things, basically what I'm trying to say is that we do need our ego for, or is it just something that's created?
So somewhere along the line, we were all fed this line of garbage that don't work from your heart, work for your mind, or work from ego, okay? And I just beg to differ. I think you work from your heart. Heart Math Institute has already proven that the heart has a complete nervous system, a neurological system all around it that thinks just like the ego does. And the ego has two hemispheres, or the brain has two hemispheres. So there's oppositions in there. The heart is one muscle. It doesn't have two hemispheres. So we're coming from a completeness when we think from our heart. Now, I believe that there's balance in everything. And what happens is that when we're leading from ego, 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 mind, 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 we're not in balance. And so if you're not happy with your life, you're witnessing the imbalance already. If you find yourself unhappy in most circumstances, can't figure out how to change your life, can't shift, you're already in ego. Is it serving you?
Not at
You
all.
know, we have to relearn how to come from our heart. We have to know when we're in our heart. We have to know how the heart, how to lead from the heart. And once we learn that, the ego absolutely has a place and a role with us.
Okay.
What I'm basically saying is that I choose what gets to lead. I choose where the compassion comes from. I choose, in accepting the totality of myself, how I'm going to act from and where I choose to act from. We always have a choice. And there's vital roles that the ego plays. And there are times when we need to take that choice and say, oh, I need to go from the mind here, and this is what works for me. But there's a balance. And what happens is that most of us who are unhappy with our lives, we're not in balance.
True.
We're coming from one place and one place only, and we don't know how to make that change. We don't know where to begin. And that's why I love the program, because it gives us a beginning. And if you want to know what that beginning is, you got to go through the program to find out.
I did, and now I'm a coach. Times two, but I'm a coach, and I'm telling you, the program works. It totally works. So, let me see.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what I want to talk about really quick, because I know that's you know, you and I can have a conversation forever about everything and anything, especially when it comes to
Yes.
mind,
Yes.
body, spirit, metaphysics, and everything. So, but I'm gonna bring us to um, our bodies and the how we can our thoughts, our emotions, and our words affect the what's going on in our bodies with um water.
Mhm. Okay.
I really want people to understand. I don't want to scare them, but at the same time, I want us to be able to open our minds and understand that we are, what is it, 70, 80%
So,
water.
yes.
Mhm.
So, we can have a relationship. If you go to any of the traditions, or the tribal traditions or indigenous traditions, they have a relationship with all of the elements of nature: earth, air, fire, and water, right? And in that relationship, we can highlight water in the respect that water is a recorder of everything. Ocean waters record what the sun gives it. The sun is light. The light holds the instructions. The instructions are shining on that ocean water, ocean floor, and basically there's a cohesiveness in the synthesis that takes place. Well, the same thing happens within our body. We have a relationship with water within our body. We know that our body is made up of 60 to 70% water. And we know that we produce light because we're energy beings. And we also understand that in producing light, there is a certain vibration that takes place. There is a certain resonance that takes place. And we know that this takes place because we have thoughts and we speak, right? The thought and what we speak, everything has a frequency. And in that frequency, it has a resonance based on what you are speaking and what you are thinking. And water, being the recorder, is recording the resonance, the frequency, the vibration of all that we are, right? Because there's motion and resonance, there's motion and vibration, and how fast or how slow. And so as the waters are recording it, the waters hold the instructions, right? And actually, Dr. Masaru Emoto, highlights this when he says you can write a word down and you can say, I hate you. And you can take that word. And even in the written word, it has a vibration, and you can take that to a glass of water. And the vibration of that word, I hate you, has a low frequency, a low resonance, and it actually causes bacteria in that water over a period of 3 days. And you can take a different piece of paper and a different glass of water, and you can say, I love you, and you can take that to the glass of water and let it sit for 3 days, and you'll find that it actually crystallizes. So for those people who go, oh, come on, really? Why do you think water is blessed before it's given to you? Why do you think any liquid is blessed before it's given to you? Right? That blessing of the words has a resonance, and that resonance and that frequency all recorded by the water, and then you ingest that water. So when we think in a positive way, and that thought has a frequency, guess what part is being recorded? The waters of our body is recording what we say and what we do. This is why we first go to speak positive, speak positive, because when we speak negatively, that's being recorded in the waters of our body. So that person who speaks negative, everything's half empty, everything's wrong, I hate my body, I hate the way I look, I hate this, I hate. And we're using that word hate, and we know what it does to water over a period of 3 days. It deteriorates it. It's bacteria. What are we doing to our bodies?
Killing it.
That are recording this over years and years and years and years. And you know what? Science has proven this. Why do you think that AARP is sent to you at 50 years old? Because after about 50 years, they're expecting you to come up with whatever disease or dis-ease you're going to have, because you've done it over a period of 50 years. Some of us, it shows up a lot earlier. Some of us, maybe a little bit later. But if you haven't done your work, it shows up.
It shows up.
It shows up. And it shows up in the resonance, and it starts with the body of water in our being. Because what does water do? Water distributes all throughout your body. And after the water distributes out throughout your body, it nurtures, along with the blood and everything else, your organs. And your organs are supposed to come into balance after being nurtured. If it's not doing its job because it's low frequency, low resonance, and the organs are not coming into balance, then dis-ease happens because you're not in balance. And this is a contributor to it. Is it the only thing? No, there's many other things, but this is a factor and a contributor to coming into alignment and being and walking in a physical balance of who we are. That, along with eating, and along with what we listen to. Because again, we're listening to resonance, vibration, and frequency when people speak. You know, they prove it with plants, right? Plants hear a sound and a resonance, and they actually have like a little biomechanical device that you can put on plants, and you can actually hear when a plant is happy with the sound that it's hearing and sad with the sound that it's hearing. And you can actually listen to it. So if you're playing heavy metal, rock, and head-banging stuff and punk, and the frequency of the plant just goes down, 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 down.
Wow.
And actually can listen, and you can, you know, don't take my word for it. Please do your homework.
I believe it.
Do your homework. Anybody who's listening to me, if you're not buying what I'm saying, do your homework. I don't ask anyone to take anything that I say, you know, like verbatim. Always do your homework. And so they actually play classical music, or they'll play ambient music, and the plants just go screaming high and a high frequency, and it actually measures it and says, yeah, the plant is happy.
That's amazing.
It's amazing.
I love that.
So science is proving more and more and more that which we would just deem metaphysical. It's being proven.
It's starting to come around now. I believe it. I've seen it, because I talk to my plants all the time. and I make sure I give them the attention. And we should treat plants like, I know it sounds crazy to some people, but humans, because what human doesn't want to hear, I think you're beautiful, I love you? Who doesn't want to get positive compliments? So when you treat a plant the same way that you would treat a human, it it flourishes, it lives, it thrives. I have like plants all over here, and I've placed them in different places, and they're thriving, and they let me know, okay, I'm not happy you're neglecting me, just like a human, a child.
Yes, it's actually not crazy, none whatsoever, because we are all energy. Everything is energy. There isn't anything that isn't energy.
Mhm.
Okay, if it's an inanimate object, how it was made, what it was made from, had an energetic or energy imbued in it as the human who put it
Mhm.
together. But everything has energy.
Definitely. And then we have to be careful about those things with the energy, because we don't know where their energy came from. So there was one thing you made, and I was trying to bring up the point. As soon as you said that, it reminded me of something. There was a segment that I was watching. I don't know if it was a YouTube or not, but the person said, like, say for instance, you're trying to clean up your life and you want to get rid of old things because you're ready to start fresh and new. Well, in order to do that, you can't hold on to the past, which means past clothing, past whatever's in the past that you were, that you had. It's time to clean that out. So she said, even if you had clothes from someone else, someone gave you like a sweater or something, or clothing, and she said you have to get rid of those things, especially if that person is in your life, because even though they gave it to you and you may have washed it, I don't know how many times, it still carries the energy of that person. So I thought about that, and I'm like, but they're nice sweaters, I don't want to get rid of. But I
Well,
did.
the other side of that, there's always a balance to it. And the other side of that is that carry yourself as such a high frequency being, carry yourself in your own frequency so thoroughly that you just shine through that which tries to attach to you. It just can't.
That's true. I
It
like
just
that.
can't. Yeah.
Yeah. And you have to have that belief, because I also believe in the now, us believing in the right now instead of the past. Because if we're carrying things from the past and we're speaking on it still now, that's also creating the frequency for what's continually going to happen in our lives.
Yes.
For instance, as the water.
Yes, there's the water, but there's also our thought, and thought is powerful. If you think you're sick, you can physically be sick. People have like gotten sick and say, I'm sick," and then they go checked out, and there's nothing wrong with you. I can't see anything physically wrong with you. I mean, the power of the mind, like we talked about earlier, is huge.
Mhm.
And so, there are people that's what hysterical pregnancy is, right? People believe they're pregnant so much so that their body reacts as if they're
That's true.
pregnant. That's right.
That
And there they are. Actually, their bellies get big and everything, but yet there's nothing there,
right, right.
right? So, the power that we possess is off the charts. We are powerful beings.
Mhm.
And in understanding that, we can project into our existence how we're living, what we're choosing to do, what we're choosing to be, how our world looks like is a powerful gift,
That's true.
and then we as human beings, the reason why we go through self-mastery, the reason why we do what we do, is that we need to be able to shift when we don't feel like we're on the right path, when we don't feel we're on the right course. And I don't say change, I don't use the word change, I'm going to change my life. No, I'm going to shift my life, I'm going to shift my viewpoint, I'm going to shift how I perceive things, I'm going to shift how I process things.
Hmm.
And I'm not going to do it by changing everything. Oh, I'm just going to change my clothes. No, because you're still the same person. You change your clothes. I'm going to
Hmm.
shift because I'm going to make a different decision, and I'm not going to have the same style of clothing. And it's going to be a little bit different. It's still clothing, but it's different, you
Exactly.
know?
Hmm.
And then when I shift the choice of clothing that I make, then I get a response that's different because it's not the same result, because it's not the same clothing.
Now that makes a lot of
So
sense.
yes, we make a different decision. We make a different decision.
I like that.
That's
I like that. I really, really like that because it kind of helps me understand a lot of things. And it's almost like, say, for instance, feng shui, you know, when you change your home around because, he's like, okay, something needs to change. I'm ready to do something different. And you shift the energy and you may change the furniture around or, and you can feel the energy lift when you do that. You can literally feel it. At least I can.
it's like when you talk about feng shui, it's so deep because then you talk about the energetic ley lines that the earth has, and they
Uh-huh.
pass through our front rooms, and feng shui and biogeometry teaches us that we can move an object, and in that movement of the object, it can then shift the energy and how it lays and how it I want to go to resonance again.
Okay.
Okay, how it vibrates. Okay, just in the certain way that an object is shifted, the certain way that an object is actually shaped
Uh-huh.
makes a difference, because again, everything is energy and the earth is energy, and we don't think about the fact that we're passing through energy lines when we're walking out the door. We're passing through energy lines in our homes, and for those people who might say, come on, really, well, think about the fact that you introduced energy into your homes when you have the wireless router, and you're introducing EMF rays, and that's energy that you're broadcasting out and saying, that energy is saying, find me, find me, find me. And your computer goes, okay, I'm broadcasting, looking, and then they match. And then there's a connection there, right? And we create those energy lines. But the earth has always had its own energy lines. And if
Yeah.
you go into biogeometry or sacred geometry at its height, and you look at how buildings are built and architectures are done from, and I'm not even going to say ancient times, from our times. You can look at Washington D.C. and look at how the White House has corresponded to the
Pentagon.
Lincoln Memorial
Lincoln.
corresponds to the. You can look at all of the, what's the phallic piece? My
I know the one you're talking about. Isn't that? I thought that was the
you can
Washington.
look at the layout of all of that and look at sacred geometry and look at sacred architecture, and you can ask the architects why they created that particular shape, that particular area of distance and layout and everything else based on the Earth's power centers and ley lines, So there's a lot there. There's a lot there that we don't pay attention to.
Yeah.
We really don't.
And I know, I just thought about that from when I was when I lived in Washington, and I'm thinking about the layout of it. That is so true.
Hmm.
That's
Very.
completely true. That is completely true. I just thought about it because the actual Washington Monument sits, it
That's at the
faces
Washington Monument.
exactly. It faces the White House because you can take a straight walk to it, and the other monuments are like placed. I
Yeah.
remember that. Oh wow, that yeah, okay.
And
That
the
makes
sacred star, it actually makes up a star. And I don't remember if it's a 5-star or 7-star, but if there's a sacred star there, and if you lay out the geometric lines, it's sacred geometry at its best. There are specials on that. You can actually look that one up.
I'm gonna look it up because I'm all about that. I am so all about that.
I can actually give you one of the great sites to take a look at that at. I'll pass that on to you.
Cool
And if
beans.
you want to, you can put it in the description if anybody else is interested.
Sure. You know what? Danica. I always say her name wrong. I think it's Danica. She says, "Hello, beautiful sisters. Amazing conversation. You don't have to excuse yourself to anyone. Own yourself. She says everything starts in your mind. What you think you become, what you plant, it will grow. Be careful with your ego and beliefs. And she also says a healthy ego brings awareness and makes you pay attention to your present situation. I love
There
you,
you go.
Danica.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
So, Dr. Enolia, or Enolia, I call her Enolia. I call her beautiful. But with that being said, hold on, let me get to my, if someone is interested, now, both of us, now that we're colleagues as well, how can someone reach out if they want to reach out to you regarding the EAS program? Now, mind you, everyone, she is all the way in Angola, but she can reach anybody. Trust
I
me.
sure can.
Mhm.
But I don't say that it's necessary to reach me. They can reach you.
They can reach any one of us.
They
And
can reach you. They can reach out to you. If they align with you, they can reach out to me if they align with me. The key here isn't to keep EAS as like tight to the chest. We are looking for people to take the masterclass. You cannot be certified unless you take the masterclass. And I really prefer to run the certification program and let you and other certified teachers take care of the master class. So I would say they can reach out to you first. And after they take that master class, then they can come to me. And if they're interested in coaching, they can take the certification in that regard.
works. So you guys have it. This is the beautiful Dr. Enolia. So we have two other colleagues as well that run this program. They are Therese Teasley and Christina Konya, all the way in is it Britain or London?
London, and we have a couple of others coming through. So yes.
And so the program is growing. And I want to say thank you for I want to thank you for your spirit. Thank you for the connection that we had before we ever spoke. You know, um, it literally, her spirit really reached out to me, and it was like I couldn't sit still. It was like I don't know how, but I'm gonna reach out to her. I don't know why, but I need to reach out to her. The program works. I can't express how much, because when I started the program, and I'm going to give this really quick testimony, I was in a dark place, dark place. A dear friend of ours, dear friend, and this podcast is actually dedicated to her, Davina Brooks. She passed away a couple years ago now, and it broke me. And I think that's what started me on the rest of my healing journey, because I like I said, I did 20 years, but then I got lost. And when Davina passed, something in me just like kind of did give up. And Enolia caught it right at the point where I was ready to just walk away from a lot of stuff. Not give up on life, but give up on my dreams, my belief in myself, and not finish the healing that I needed. So she took hold of me, and she helped me through the tears and the pain and facing myself and forgiving so much. So when I say the program works, it's something and like she said earlier, you really don't want to take a program until you know the person knows the experience. I think anyone that's a coach, if you have the experience, self experience especially, is best, because you can relate to each person in some shape, form, or fashion and help them through their process. You might not have walked the same path, but you do understand more because you've gone through it. You've gone through the dark nights of the soul. You've gone through the pain. You've gone through the healing. You've gone through facing things that you never thought that you would talk about. It's not an easy program. I'm never going to tell anybody that. That would be a biggest lie in the world. It's not easy, but it's worth it, because I feel like after I'm 55 now, I finally got my voice after 55 years. Who wants to live like that? Literally. So if you know for a fact that you really want to get your who you are, first of all, and take the weight of the world off of you, so you can open your eyes and say, this is who I really am, and own who you are, and create your own stories and take off the false stories, the unbeliefs, the perpetuated stories, the victim stories, find out who you truly are and be empowered and stand in it. This class is it. I would not lie. This class is it. A lot of work, a lot of healing work. You get to work with Enolia as well in one session alone with her, and that's empowering in itself. I'm not going to tell you anything else. You have to take the class. But if anyone does want to contact you, what is the email address that they can contact you at, Dr. Enolia?
They can contact me at info@enolia.live, Live. And I just want to say this to you. For those of you who are looking at the program, I would suggest that you get on board because I am working with the government of Angola. I am working with some contacts in New Zealand and Albania. And I am looking to bring this in a large scale. I have clients that are actually working out of Australia, New Zealand, Africa here, okay, UK, across the world. And when the right program does grab a hold of it, it's going to go like wildfire, and then it won't be as easily accessible as people take programs like this for granted to think that they are. It's culturally respectful. It does not go into culture at all. Okay, so, you're thinking, oh, I'm this religion or I'm that religion or I'm this and I have that belief system. It really allows and affords the person the opportunity to introspect by asking themselves the right questions. And it doesn't project anybody else's institutionalized or anybody else's belief system onto you. It is about you. So, at this stage, we're only saying we have a handful of instructors, but I think that that's going to change real soon. So, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Enolia. And like I said, I plan on having you on here again. I don't know what topics are going to be deep. It is time to have those topics, those talks. I'm ready, and I'm finally found the tribe that I can have these conversations with and be comfortable in them. And, we can just soar. We can just go with it and just keep the conversation going. For those who are ready, and those who are not ready, you get to listen and plant the seed in the back of your head, and it'll come back around. Trust me, because there are times when I had those moments and I'm going, wait a minute. And I had my cognitive dissonance moment. And I'm like, that's a lie. And I'm not going to believe that. Oh my God. And next thing I know, a year goes around. Wait a minute. Did I just hear that a year later? Okay, it was supposed to happen. So I'm thankful. And those of you, if you are interested, I'm in America, but just like Dr. Enolia said, you can reach out to me as well. If you are interested in the Empower Achieve Succeed class, I'm available. I was taught by the one who created the program. So trust me, it works. I'm a living witness. But you can also reach out to me at rebirthdimension@gmail.com or Coach Belvy at rebirthholistic.com. We're available here for you. We're ready for you. If you're ready for the work, we're not going to force anyone to do it. We're not going to come and beg you to take the class because it's your life and you get to have it the way you want to have it. But we're here with open arms, with a lot of love to help you be the best person that you can be. And with that being said, is there any lasting words that you want to leave with everyone, Dr. Enolia?
I always love to leave this one. Dream a beautiful dream or you will be dreamt. If you don't hold a vision for yourself that life becomes a walk to, then you will live your life trying to fulfill what people perceive you should be. And that's no way to live. So dream your beautiful dream. And if you need help in accessing and holding that vision, see Coach Malvina, see me. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. And with that being said, everyone, we're going to end this live stream. I thank you all for coming on. If you didn't catch the live, please listen to the replay and post your comments because they are more than welcome. I love you all, and thank you for viewing The Healing Factor today with me and Dr. Enolia. Take care and be blessed. Bye,
Bye bye.
everyone.